Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Books, Girls, and Purrs. My name is Leslie, and there are two interviews that came out recently. One is from Collider with Perry Nemiroff that I'm looking forward to because I love them as an interviewer. And the second interview is from TV Guide, interviewing the cast of Interview with a Vampire. And so I just wanted to watch it with you all, react, just chat about any type of indication what we might see in the future for season three. Just anything to, to have us occupy our time while we wait for the new season. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I think I want to start with the Collider interview first, since I love Perry Nemiroff. So let's get to it. Okay, that's better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Collider Interview Studio at San Diego Comic-Con 2024. I'm so excited to be standing with the team behind Interview with the Vampire. I'm especially excited right now because we can just talk season 2 spoilers. I swear.
Yeah, finally.
I'll keep the season 3 teases to a minimum here because there really is so much to dig into that I'm excited to discuss. First, a big question for anyone who wants to jump in. Now that we could talk about any scene we want, for each of you, which scene of season 2 did you think was going to be the most difficult for you to pull off? And ultimately, was it, or did a different one catch you by surprise?
Wow, that's
real
a good
challenge.
question.
What a
That's
question.
a really good question.
Good morning.
Good
I
morning.
come out of the gate nice and hot.
No.
This is exactly why I love Perry, by the way. She has great questions.
It's like, holy Lord. Wow. I can start.
Big boss, go.
The entirety of episode 7. It's not supposed to work. It's a play. It's not supposed to work cinematically. And I think there was just great terror right from the beginning when we conceived of it. Are we gonna be able to pull it off? So that was
stuff.
that was the thing that was terrifying for me.
I think I was going to say 7 as well, but I think I'm going to say episode 4, Baby Lou. I don't know, like it was interesting for me because it was like I was enjoying it, but I had to remember that like Claudia didn't enjoy it, and there was like lots of elements involved in it and a couple of rehearsals, and to see it come together, it was better than I expected it to be. So yeah, I'm very happy with that Lou performance.
I'll take that.
I was gonna say episode 7, but I'll say instead, Dream Start, the dream ghost version that we had. I wasn't totally sold on his presence. I was worried he was going to be annoying, but as we slowly worked through it, I ended up having a real soft spot for that version of Lestat and that kind
Sam Reed could play any character and never be annoying. So good.
of sweet, dopey, innocent, naive kind of character. I really enjoyed him in the end. Yeah.
I think all the French scenes I was most
Yeah, your
apprehensive.
French is beautiful.
I would the
You
ones
didn't
that we
speak a lick
had.
of it either, right?
No,
Sorry,
nothing,
it's hard,
nothing. And I was really terrified. But in the end, I enjoyed them. I think more than some of the other scenes, because for some reason I felt like, I don't know,
That's
I
a
felt
lovelier
more,
language
but
than
I felt
stupid
more
English, isn't it?
Armand in French for some reason. It just something about the language is so beautiful and kind of sensual. I don't know. It helped me, especially in episode 6 with Madeline. That's one of my favorite scenes that we worked on. And yeah. So the French.
I love how you learn it for a show. I spent 4 years of high school trying to learn French, and I got
Yeah, I love that scene with Madeline as well. I don't know. I think it's definitely not my favorite, but it's getting up there because at the end of the, what do you call it, season 2, that last scene with Sam Reed's character and Jacob Anderson, even though they're not, that moment really steals the show, but that whole exchange between Madeline and Armand was incredible.
Got nothing. I got nothing left. I'll get into some specifics now. Delaney, I'll begin with you because I was reading in another interview that you and Sam worked really hard together to make sure that Claudia's last look really meant something and kind of still reverberated through the show. So can you talk us through the conversations you had and how it impacted the performance?
I had a lot of conversations with Emma because I knew what it was, but then I'm always hesitant about my idea of it. And then I think we had a conversation with, you and Hannah, and then you like to me the last look is like, that's like, Dad help me. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, got it. Like, and we're speaking about that anyway, but I was playing with how to show that and how I kind of thought it was. And then we met in the middle. And after I did some takes, Hannah would come up to me and she'd like, yeah, that's just keep doing that. Like, and I'm like, okay, yeah, good. And it was about experimenting, I think.
I like hearing when you work.
Okay, even though that moment is about like Dad help me, when I, as you know, during the live, when I saw that scene, I think I was just so angry. I was projecting how I felt because I guess I just felt like in that moment when Claudia looks at Lestat, I just felt like her character should be angry and although she needs help, I guess a spiteful part of me would be looking at him like, I want you to remember this moment and I want it to haunt you for the rest of your life because you're culpable. We know, which is actually just what we know as a viewer in terms of consequence. So it does make sense that she looks over at him for help, but I guess I didn't take it that way at the moment. I thought it was more of like being upset about what's going on.
Work through something like that and you land on something pitch perfect like you do because it's got the intended effect. It pierces through and I love it. Hassan and Sam, I'll come to you two with this question because I'm curious to hear how your answers might differ. How do you think your characters feel about Louis in terms of what attracts them to him most? Like what particular quality makes like him the one and no one else?
Do we differ?
Gosh. Look, I think being a vampire is hard, and picking somebody who you feel like is going to be able to stand the test of time and be a good vampire, and someone that you believe is going to be capable of killing every single day and not disappearing or lighting themselves on fire is what Lestat saw in Louis in the beginning, and Louis is a fighter and
That's a wild thing to say because what does Louis do? He lights himself on fire. He leaves him. So that's wild. But yes, does stand the test of time. It just took Louis a while to get there.
and he saw so much potential. And he's also, desperately in love with him and with his humanity and with his struggle. Turns out that that's not really what Louis wanted. And it took them, the better part of a century for Louis to discover his true vampiric self and Lestat to realize that there's more humanity in him than he realized. So I think that's why they're quite a good match, and I think they're kind of soulmates for that reason, because they can learn so much from each other to become better monsters. So yeah, that's my answer. Yeah,
Becoming better monsters.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's also very, very different to Armand's attraction, maybe, because there's something really astute about Lestat seeing a future, like that future, and seeing the potential is something that I think Armand didn't have. I think Armand sees Louis as a vessel for how he can change Armand, how he can sort of enrich Armand's life, rather than, I guess, seeing Louis as his own person and what he's like bringing to the world and giving to the world. I mean, that's the tragedy of the sort of romance between them. I think it's just all by himself.
As you two are answering this, there's so many scenes that just flash through my mind.
That's so well said. And I think that's another indication of how well done this adaptation is, because that's how the essence of Armand in the book is. His interactions with Louis is just him needing someone to help him transition into like the new era. And yeah, that comes from a selfish place, right? And that's something that like Assad has tapped into, that the relationship, that's like the needy part of it. It's not really about a balanced relationship. It's more about the taking. I don't know. I love this take.
And one particular scene that I could do like hours and hours of interview questions on is the reunion at the end of the season. Ron, I'll come your way first with that. I was reading somewhere that your first draft of that scene felt unsatisfying. Can you tell me why it felt that way to you and what you wound up finding to change that quality of it?
Yeah, well, it was a gun to my head. We had a strike and we had to chunk out scripts really, really quickly. So, well, you're also saving it, right? You know that scene. I know that scene from the beginning of when we took this on. That will eventually happen, and 3 years later, we're shooting it. And I think generally speaking, I had Lestat's track okay. There was some additions. I ended up just when finally we're allowed to come back and start rewriting. Got on the phone with both of them and talk about the scene, because it was like clear we were all looking at it going, this is not working. It seems so obvious and dumb and so blatant right now, but the scene needed to be about forgiveness and contrition, and it wasn't in my first draft coming out of Louis' mouth the way it should be. And I have two really, really lovely actors who guided me that way, and we got there.
That's why you surround yourself with the best people.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it that it was the actors that really guided that moment, because yeah, that Louis and Lestat coming together and like taking a step towards forgiveness is exactly not just what they needed for each other, but actually I would say we needed to happen for the character of Louis. That's what I love so much about this adaptation, is that point exactly, because that just gave so much closure to the character of Louis that I don't really think even book Louis got. So, man, I love hearing about the development of story.
I have one specific writing question for you. I want to know what compelled you to script the final moment of that scene. Jacob Anderson as Louis says something to Sam Reed as Lestat that only they will know. I know you won't tell us what you guys were saying in that moment because it's for you, but why did you know scripting it that way was best?
Making a TV show and doing art with the same people for a chunk of your life, like 3 years, we all just get to your forced family, and then it does begin to feel like family. And you have this intimate relationship on a page with these characters, and then you have the people themselves. And it just was very clear after 3 years they had earned a slice of pie that no one should know about, and that was just theirs. So
were you just going to reveal it and I cut you off?
No, I said an owner. No, I'll never reveal it.
I feel like that would have been a great thing if you actually said it and I was busy blabbing over it.
What a Comic-Con coup that would have been.
That would have stressed me out. Can you give us any kind of update or timeline for when you might go into production, goals for release, anything like that at this point for season 3?
We're working. We're in work.
I'll take that.
There you go.
I'll take that. I'll take what I can get in these situations.
We just carry it with me everywhere I go. I sleep with it. I, do other things with it.
The fans appreciate it big time. I'll lean into this group question next, because like one of the greatest joys of watching a show that touches so many people is when you come to an event like Comic-Con and you talk about what was meaningful to you and how different people can relate to different characters. So for each of you, can you maybe pinpoint a specific fan response to season 2 that really struck a chord with you? And I don't know, I guess I guess let it sink in how special your work is in the show and how much it means to people.
I immediately thought of our meeting Ray for the first time
Ray on set.
on set.
Yeah.
That's when it first hit me how special like this was going to be. That was the first time I'd met someone, a lover of the books and a fan of the show, and yeah, that's when it kind of hit me.
Yeah, because we were shooting the scenes from the 1700s
Yeah.
that day, and Ray had come, all the way from America, and she was there in Prague, and got to introduce her to Joseph Potter, who was playing Nikki, and nobody knew that character was coming up in the scenes, and it was sort of an amazing thing, and they've been so inspirational to us, seeing those videos, the screaming, and you do really feel like we're not making a show just like for us. We're making it for these people who have lived with these books and lived with these characters. And so there's a lot of, it's very humbling. We just want to do it right for them. You just want to do it right. So
Great.
I love that so much because I really enjoyed watching Gorrei. It's spelled Gorrei. I guess they have TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, so I follow them on Instagram, and yeah, I love all their content. And also, I don't know if they're still doing it right now, but when the show was on, they would have like a live chat every Saturday morning about Interview the Vampire, and it was just so much fun to watch on Instagram.
Great success. You're going to feel a hefty dose of that in that ballroom later today. How about for the two of you?
I think for me, it was when we did, it was around the premiere and we did 92Y, like a panel thing there. And there was a fan that was waiting outside and she had found a replica of Claudia's hat in Murder Mansion, the little side beret. Yeah,
cool.
and it was the exact same. The texture was the same. Everything was the same. The weight was the same. And she was like, I searched like forever for it. And I was like, oh, that's really lovely. And then basically she DM'd me. And then she was like, I'm not used to seeing people that look like me reflected in this world. And it actually sucks like saying this because it's like 2024. But it's like we've been given this space and it doesn't escape me what the story is that we're telling. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. And yeah, her message was really sweet. And it made me think a lot about everything that I'm doing here.
Beautiful example. I love that.
Delaney is referring to Mary Had a Little Hobby. They also have a YouTube channel and an Instagram, and she's also done reviews for this season. I don't know if she did last season, but yeah, she's worth checking out.
Thank you for sharing it.
I mean, you get a little nervous to answer this question because there's so many people who are like quote unquote super fans or really, really into this, and I am a notorious Luddite, and I'm not on the internet a lot and all that. So I know Gorrei, and I know No Context Lestat and Black Girl Talks Fangs. Jacob Anderson sent me one of these reaction videos to like a 30-second commercial that AMC had cut, and this young woman in Colorado talked about it. This 30-second broke it down for like an hour and 20 minutes, just like Dada. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. Her name is Autumn Brown. She's super weird.
Autumn Brown. I was excited about all the shout outs. Like No Context Lestat. I love No Context Lestat. I love what they post on Instagram, and they definitely give off like this community feel. And they have like some of the most deep, analytical, but also incredibly funny, what do you call it? Like edits of Interview the Vampire. So I'm so glad that they're getting a shout out. But Autumn Brown is hilarious.
So and very sincere and totally dedicated, and yeah, that moved me a great deal. It just entertained me. I was like also worried for her too.
I haven't done that for your show, but my thing is always Scream and Jurassic Park. I guarantee you there's a 30-second TV spot for one of those properties that I've talked about for an hour plus. So I get this mentality all too well. Seriously, though, I cannot congratulate you enough on season 2. Really, really exceptional stuff. Hands down, one of my most anticipated shows when season 3 comes around. So thank you for being here and congratulations.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was so great. Hold on. Let me just remove that for a second. That was so good. I mean, Perry always has great questions, like always. I'm getting the next one ready right now. What's the next one? And then, of course, it's commercials. Before we start this next one with TV Guide, I was going to say that, yeah, Autumn Brown, one of her recent cuts had me laughing so hard because she has this moment where she's on a hike and then she falls. But then when you see her falling, it's like a Barbie that falls down. That's supposed to be her. It's hilarious. Sorry, I just had to go off on that tangent because it was just so funny. But yeah, that was a great interview. But Perry's interviews are always great. She has that segment. I don't know if she's still doing it because I know Collider changes up their format here and there, where it's like ladies' night and they'll discuss horror movies and stuff like that I really love. So, anyways, just to get to it. Oh, which one is it that I like? Okay. I was not expecting all those shout outs. It was really cool. All right, so now we're going to start the TV Guide one.
Cage in a lot of ways, particularly by Armand, and she broke out of the cage that Lestat was sort of keeping her in her mind. But Lestat actually has a certain amount of like respect for how powerful and independent Claudia is, even if she can't necessarily see it.
Oh, I think she sees it. I think she feels it inside. But I mean, they had good moments together as well. So I think there is love there. Whether I think if you ask Claudia that question, it would be shut down completely. But I think they're very similar in a way. So I think they have an understanding with each other. Even though she hates him, she sees herself in him.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of similarities. But like this is my opinion. Ask Claudia this, it's no completely. But yeah, I think they have a lot of similarities and lots of love, but it's overcast by their hatred for each other. Yeah.
I mean, they're family.
Yeah.
You know, they are family, and that is a very specific bond. You know, everyone has crazy relationships with them, and whether you know, these are the people you're stuck with for life. Even if you hate them, they're your family. And it's complex, but you know, I think Lestat totally misunderstood Claudia, and he undermined her, and he didn't see how incredible she was until she showed him. And I think once he saw that, there was a lot of love and pride. But he is, vengeful, proud, vain, complex monster. You know what I mean? And so he it takes a lot for him to kind of come around to it. And but yeah, I think definitely even in the trial, I think he's looking at it going, look at that beautiful creature. Look what I did.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah. But he's also like, look, like, you know, like that's part, you know, that's my family.
Yeah.
That's my daughter. And I think it's very shocking for him when she does look at him in a way that it's returned. I think he'll never get over that. I think it'll be seared into his mind for the rest of his life.
You know, it's
Two very deep answers from Delaney and Sam. That's what's so wild about Lestat that I'm thinking about is that, he waits. Not that he waits, but he does not understand until he's been bested by Claudia. Like, it's just interesting what he admires. He admires the viciousness and the violence that Claudia uses to best him, which is also what he loves about Louis, which is Louis pulled a knife out on his brother, and that was enticing. for Lestat. So it's wild where he places like what he values.
Interesting because Claudia is Lestat's fledgling and Armand has very turbulent history with Lestat and feelings towards that. And there's, I think, a lot of that does bleed through into Claudia and into how he perceives Claudia as well. I think there's some respect there as well because of her age and because Armand, the similarities that they have in terms of what it means to be turned so young and go through that. And so he recognizes some of that
Sure.
in Claudia, and I think respects it. But yeah, what the overriding thing is, she's in the way of the one thing that makes me happy, and she needs to go.
One of the things the show does so well is that idea of the unreliable narrator. So can you talk about like the complexity of crafting that feeling?
Before we hear the answer to that, there's something that Armand says that I'm telling you will always resonate with me. And it's when he turns to Claudia and calls her Claudia de Lioncourt. That's the moment that got to me between them. It's just, I never considered what Claudia's last name was. I always thought, oh, it's de Point du Lac. I never considered that her last name would be de Lioncourt. And that got to me. I think that made, even though that's like a service level thing in a way, someone's last name, but it just felt so much deeper to know that, oh, she took his last name. It still takes me out.
It starts with Anne.
Yep.
Anne was doing it.
Yep.
And we, probably adrenalized it a little bit. I'm of the opinion that on the Armand version of events, there was an agenda there, and
Yeah.
if he was telling that to somebody else other than Daniel Malloy, that might have been different too. And that there's probably a percentage in my head of what I think Louis got right about Lestat. And I think it's like all of us.
Yeah.
How we think of ourselves, how we think of others, and how time plays with that. That was something we were fairly obsessed about for the first 2 seasons.
Going back to Claudia, she's
All right. I'm so glad that Roland Jones said that, because you know what? The example I keep thinking of is that television show, How I Met Your Mother, because so much of that show just takes place in memory. And because it's in memory, there is this chance to navigate and embellish. And what I like, what that Interview with the Vampire got, or I guess I felt like I kind of had an understanding of, but it's like another layer that I wasn't sure about until this interview, which is that even that moment in the present day informs the story and what we're seeing as a path that we're being told, like, at least that's how I felt, like, depending on how Louis feels about Armand at the moment in present day, I think that also reflects how he tells a story of what happened in the past and what he wants to relay to Daniel. At least that's what I think. But I felt like he's kind of hinting at that within this conversation.
in some ways, even though, yes, like there's so much of Lestat in her and she is very good at being a vampire in ways that Louis couldn't quite embrace, there is still this very like pure good story at the center with her and Madeleine, and like finally getting somebody to choose her. It's like such a triumphant moment for Claudia.
Yeah, it really is. And filming it, it felt like that as well. And I think I was talking with Hannah about it, and I think in a way she could go happy now, because that's like the only thing that she's ever needed to hear. And, you know, she is this strong, fierce vampire, but she also looks for validation of her existence in a way. But it's not obvious, it's not overt. It's she's battling with herself. So having someone else reinstate her existence and say that she's the thing that matters right now, I think, yeah, she could go happy. Yeah.
I mean, truly that.
This interviewer is asking best Claudia questions I've come across. So, and I wish there are more interviewers asking that, instead of like focusing on the end of where Claudia's character lands. Everybody's also so focused on what's next, and I'm like, no, let's keep digging. This is like when you have the actors to dig into the episodes that they've shot already.
That is at the core of all of the characters, I think, is their battles with themselves and kind of addressing the loneliness of the existence of existing forever, which is certainly a theme that gets explored in The Vampire Lestat, which is the next novel in the series. Yes, imbue yourselves with its power.
Several designs.
Wait, tell me about this copy of Vampire Lestat. Is this like one that you've had for a long time, or? Whoa! Okay. All right. Cool. You're just gonna leave that here, right? I think that is one of the strengths, is that the tone of this show just absolutely nails the books. And there's a lot, obviously, that's been changed and updated, but it's very true to the spirit of what these stories are.
That is the first and foremost thing that is important to me. And anybody that comes into the writer's room is sort of, we're pressed with that. There's like a sort of an empty chair there all the time for Anne, and always go back to Anne.
Yeah.
And like, what's so exciting about this next book is it's so wildly different
Very.
than the first book. And there's a swagger to this book it's really, we're very excited to get into.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I need to know what's the musical inspiration for the rock star Lestat?
David Bowie,
Oh, obviously.
Mick Jagger, Bjork, Freddie Mercury, Mark Sandman.
All right. I didn't realize I was going to mention Bjork. I love Bjork, by the way.
Franz Liszt, Otis Redding, Moses Sumney, Douglas Dare,
I like the inclusion of Otis Redding.
Red Cross, Lang Lang, Iggy Pop, St. Vincent, Prince, Florence Welch, Jim Morris.
Lestat's outfit, like that yellow top, reminds me of Prince in the teaser that we saw. Oh, who did he just mention? Hold on, back. I was going to say something else and I forgot already. I'm so excited.
Moses Sumney, Douglas Dare, Red Cross, Lang Lang, Iggy Pop, St. Vincent.
Iggy Pop. What is it called? Post-pop depression. Is Iggy Pop and Josh Homme, who's from Queens of the Stone Age. And I'm so glad he mentioned Iggy Pop, because I was thinking about Queens of the Stone Age when I listened to Long Face. There's some elements in there that remind me of Zeppelin and Queens of the Stone Age. Any Stone Age is basically like, there's so many influences for them. And so I like that he mentioned Iggy Pop, because Iggy Pop has worked with Josh Holmes, which is incredible.
Prince, Florence Welch, Jim Morrison, T-Rex, Gustav Mahler, Brendan Flowers, Fiona Apple.
Fiona Apple. Oh, yeah. I look forward to seeing what they do with that, because I guess I'm thinking about Fiona Apple in terms of lyrics.
Serge Gainsbourg, Electric Light Orchestra, The Sweet, Nick Cave, Riley Ritchie, Benjamin Clementine,
Okay.
Chaperone,
Hold
Gustavo.
on. He said Riley Ritchie. Jacob Anderson, that's all. And Chaperone, but I feel like I could see that. But Riley Ritchie, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Dudamel, David Lee Roth, Ryan Cadner, John Cale, Jeff Magnum, Paul Westerberg, Daniel Hart.
Of course, Danielle Hart. I'm gonna go back and like write everything down. This is good.
Wow. How did you come up with that list?
He's Lestat.
Yeah.
He's gonna be pinching from
everybody.
just the best and all the
That's true.
And
Just
then
really,
beat them.
Yeah. Because he's Lestat. Yeah.
He's Lestat.
Sounds like
The best there is. And Armand is now just out there in the world. He's been left behind by Louis, who found out all of his treacherous ways of
Listening to
manipulating.
Lestat's double album as well.
Yeah, exactly.
on repeat. Seeing if there's a song about him. Which one's about me? Which one's about me?
The circumstances.
You know what's so funny is I think that's exactly what Armand's gonna do, but they're all gonna be about Louis.
That's right. Interview with the Vampire has been out. It's been
Yep.
unleashed consequences for everybody.
except Claudia, unfortunately, who's no longer.
Why would you say that?
Why
would you say that?
Because
That would be a silly thing to do.
I know.
Have Delaney here. Why would I stop writing for Delaney? That seems like a really, really dumb thing to
her
do.
spirit comes back around later.
I'll
So
talk to you about how we're doing it.
yeah, right.
If you were running this show,
Yes,
wouldn't you bring back Delaney?
immediately.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you've given me a lot to ponder. Armand, being sad in the bathtub listening to Lestat's music.
Also, I need at least one song to be about Claudia.
Trying to figure out if
I don't know if it's sad. I don't know if it's sad.
More mad,
Vengeful.
more mad.
Yeah,
No,
just
let's
seething.
I think you're gonna like this song. I can imagine Armand with a Vampire Lestat tour t-shirt.
Oh, for sure, for
Right?
sure. I think he hates that he does love every aspect of Lestat, but
Yeah.
he hates it. He fucking loves
Yeah.
it.
I am so looking forward to getting that history in even greater detail.
What's great about this interview is it's all total bullshit because we've barely written anything for this thing. It's all in the brain.
Yeah.
In the brain.
It's all in the brain.
A couple things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not really anything written.
There's a little.
Oh,
There's a couple
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But no.
I mean, stuff's written in that book. And
Well, that's it. Honestly, she wrote it. We're here to kind of bring it to life and turn it into a serialized television
yes.
show. Lestat and the spirit of Lestat is about to take over the show.
I think
That's
that's
already taken over, Robin.
That was just so so good. So much to look forward to. I love that Roland Jones had like a whole list of the musical influences. Yeah, so I'm just excited. I'm excited for what's to come. Um, not in this session, but in another video, I want to watch the San Diego Comic-Con panel, but I don't know. You know what I noticed? The other show, what is it called? The other AMC show, The Walking Dead. They always have like a recording, a nice, clear, steady version of the recording of their panels. I don't see one for Interview the Vampire. I've just seen like fan-made, like people from the crowd recording. If that's what I'm gonna have to do, I'll do it. I'm just kind of waiting. I'm waiting for this weekend to see if it comes out or not before I like start recording something else. So we'll see. Also, I know I'm behind and I haven't done the season 2 wrap up. I am gonna do it. I just have a couple of things that I'm working on that I need to knock out before I do anything else. And actually, I will share one of them with you right now. Let me. Oh, okay, this works. All right, so this coming Saturday, I'm gonna go live with Nkechi from City Girl Writer, and we're gonna discuss Vampires of El Norte by Isabella Cañas. So if you're interested in joining us in the chat, that's what we're gonna be doing this weekend. And so after this, I just need to crack on. It's Thursday night, and I need to not do anything else but just read that book and prep for that segment. Then so that's me going live with a guest, and then I have someone else this month I'm going to be interviewing within my Los Angeles community. If everything works out, I'll knock it out this month because I'm actually really behind. I should have had it done in May. It's August 1st. I don't even want to acknowledge, but so I got to do that next, like as a priority. And then I'm going to circle back to season 2. I'm going to just like binge watch it just to kind of like reobserve, and because I definitely want to connect season 1 and season 2 together for commentary. And just, yeah, I just feel like there's a lot to say and I have to kind of lasso myself in and get it all in line and have whatever I'm going to say become coherent. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So thank you for your patience during this time while I get it all together. If you're new here, please subscribe. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this with me. Let me know what you think about these interviews. press the like button for the algorithm. And before I forget, I almost forgot to do this. Thank you so much. I hope to see you this Saturday, and I'll see you in the chat.